Hello there everybody and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to be taking a look at a watch that I have lusted after for literally years. Well, not technically, it's actually a homage to a watch that I've lusted after. And it is this watch, which is the Heimdallr MarineMaster 300. So for some of you, you may know that this is a homage to a Seiko professional specification or a pro specs watch that sits in around about, I think in Australia, around about 5,000–6,000 Australian dollars, probably their equivalent of about 3,500 or even maybe 4,000 USD. Now, it's a watch that I have wanted for over a decade, but for some reason it just never became part of my collection. I think mainly because it's probably a little bit too large to wear for everyday purposes, whereas something like a Submariner or that type of size watch is a little bit more reasonable and can be worn in different applications. This bad boy is, as you can see there, it's a chunky old beast. This thing will take you down to the depths of the ocean. But really wanted to show it to you because it is, in my opinion, one of the nicest watches that I've seen on AliExpress. Very well finished, but I'll give you all the details and show you in the footage shortly. Before we do that though, please do consider subscribing. It only takes a second, guys, and it really does help the channel out. So with that being said, let's turn the camera around and take a look at the Heimdallr MarineMaster 300. Okay guys, so very excited to be showing you this watch. Just to be clear, before we start the review, I did pay for this watch myself. I bought it in the recent AliExpress sale. I think it was about 170 Australian. Like I say, you can pick them up now for around about 200 Australian, so about 140 US. I have put a link in the description. It's an affiliate link, so the channel does get a little bit of a kickback if you do make a purchase. I just want to be really clear, these views are my own and I did pay for this watch with my own money. Alright, so let's start with the dimensions, guys. You're looking at a fairly sizable watch because it is a dive watch. So in terms of your diameter, you're looking at 44 mils, not including that crown that sits at around about the 4 o'clock position. In terms of top to bottom lug, it's a pretty sizable 50 mils, and it doesn't get much better when you look at the thickness. It's 15.5 mils there or thereabouts, so quite a sizable watch and certainly not something that you'd be wearing as a dress watch. When we start taking a look at this watch on the wrist, that's my 7¼ inch wrist with this watch on it. You can see, even though it is 44 mils, I don't think it is too big. I mean, it's not exactly small by any stretch of the imagination, but the watch, I think because of the curved lugs down the way, sort of tend to make it look maybe not as large as the sizing would indicate. But you can see there it does actually sit quite high off the wrist. But again, you know, the original watch, this is a homage to, is a professional specification dive watch. It's a serious tool watch, and again, its legibility, it's about you know, the robustness of the case, the waterproofness, so on and so forth. Waterproofness, if that's even a word. But yeah, it's a very sizable watch, but again, I think on this wrist, which is not overly large, still quite manageable. So moving on to the case and crystal, you do have a sapphire crystal, a domed sapphire crystal actually, with a anti-reflective coating applied to it. It's the anti-reflective coating that has that blue sort of hue or sheen to it. It does make the dial look somewhat indigo in certain lights, but I do want to let you know it is a black dial. It is not indigo, as some of the footage may indicate. You do have a nice glossy bezel there as well. I've looked high and low on the materials on AliExpress and did a little bit of research on good old Google. I can't tell you though whether that is a ceramic bezel or whether it is very similar to the Seiko MarineMaster, where it is actually an aluminium bezel with a glossy lacquer applied. In terms of the case finishing, it's very, very good. No sharp edges, it's very smooth. Nice polishing, and I don't know whether you can see from some of this footage, but through the center of the watch, as you can see there, in between the crown, it does have like I suppose a satin finish, sort of a reverse zaratsu almost. Again, I say zaratsu, it's not zaratsu style finishing, but it's certainly very reminiscent of what you're going to find on the high-end Seiko MarineMaster. So overall, very, very nice. And you do have those drilled lugs as well, which means that strap changes can be quite easy if you want to swap it out for a rubber strap, which will certainly make this watch a little lighter on the wrist. One rather unique aspect to this watch is that it has a monobloc case. So monobloc meaning that it doesn't actually have a screw down case back, or for that matter any kind of case back whatsoever. It is one solid chunk of steel. If this watch actually needs to be serviced, then you need to go through the front via the dial to adjust it in any way, shape or form. Reason being, it's a professional specification watch, so anything that can aid in its waterproofing is certainly going to be useful, hence why it's a monobloc case. Moving on to the bracelet, guys. I've read various reviews and looked at some reviews from some other people here on YouTube, and there's been no other way to put it, some sledging of the bracelet, quite frankly, and I have absolutely no understanding as to why that is the case. I'm really impressed with the bracelet. Yep, admittedly, it's not as good as the Seiko MarineMasters. It doesn't have ratcheting adjustment, so on and so forth, but they are solid links. They're nicely finished. There's no sharp edges. The clasp itself is signed, and it does have the triple lock there, so very good overall. No reason why I would put this as a poor bracelet. Moving on to the lume, guys, you can see there you've got nuclear level lume. It does glow very, very brightly to start off with, but I have fast forwarded some of this footage for you so that you can see it does settle down into a much more natural glow. But again, this watch is going to see you through the night. It is a decent dive watch, legibility being one of the primary reasons as to why you would have this watch, and it doesn't fail on that aspect. It will just stay like that for hours and hours, so you're going to have no problems with legibility with this particular watch. Now for my favourite part of the footage, it's the macro shots, and in particular the macro footage for the dial. So one of the main reasons why I got this watch over some of the other ones is, first of all, my experience with Heimdallr. I think they're really well made watches, but they did have MarineMaster on the dial. For those of you who have been a big fan of the Seiko Prospex range, the original Prospex range, and the MarineMaster 300 in particular, the first model did have MarineMaster written on it. The recent iterations of this iconic watch no longer have MarineMaster on it, so I wanted something with that branding on there. You can see you do have a nice clear date window, obviously makes it a little bit more legible with that white sort of banding around it. I found the finishing overall to be quite good. You can see here the macro footage of the hand setup, quite nice. There is some dust on there, but again, guys, please understand this is high resolution, super macro footage. You can't see this in with the naked eye. The finishing on the indices which are applied is quite good. You've got nice lume there, but you can see again, at this price point, it isn't going to be Rolex style finishing, but it's certainly good enough for this particular price point. Overall, dial printing was really, really good as well, and overall, I think the value ratio is just out of the park. So, my final thoughts, guys. Well, this is a watch that I have wanted for quite some time. The Seiko MarineMaster in its original version, I think it was the SBDX017, is a watch that I've wanted for well over a decade. So that itch has not gone away, and scratching it with the Heimdallr has certainly been something that I've enjoyed. In fact, I'd be fair to say that I waited and was really excited for this watch to arrive for more than any other watch that I've had recently. Now, admittedly, because it is a large watch, it's not going to be to everybody's taste, but if you want something that is quite solid, then this is definitely what you should be taking a look at. At that price point of 170 Australian dollars in the sale, can't beat it. Even now at 200 Australian or about 140 USD, I still think it's absolutely pound for pound outstanding value for money. The bracelet's really solid, the case is finished really well, and ultimately, even though this is a homage to a Seiko, it does have a Seiko heartbeat with that Seiko NH35A movement inside it. Lume's fantastic, the bezel got a nice glossy finish to it. Overall, just looks a hell of a lot more expensive than what you're actually putting into this watch in terms of cost. So guys, that's it. If you do enjoy the videos, please do consider subscribing. Other than that, I'll see you in a new video soon. Take care guys. Bye.